Steph here from thegoodride.com. We are here with a Queen Bee snowboard from Coalition. This is a size 147. It is a camber to rocker profile, so you get a good amount of camber underfoot, going to rocker on the nose and the tail. And it is a true twin. We'll give it a flex here. So it's a pretty stiff flex. I feel like a medium-high flex, maybe a 6 out of 10. The Queen Bee comes in 4 different sizes. Comes in a 143, a 147, a 151, and a 155. It has a slightly wider waist width underfoot than other boards that I've ridden in this size. So 147 has a 248 millimeter waist width, which, you know, riding boards with slightly wider waist width can, one, be good for if you have bigger boot size, or if you want just a little added stability underfoot, which I find very nice in an all-mountain freestyle type board. So when you're riding down and it's a little bumpy, it doesn't get super flexy and you don't have to absorb all the bumps, but you can still kind of feel what's going on under there with the medium flex. It also comes with a sintered base that held up pretty quick. You can see I did ride it quite a bit. There's a little bit of some white edges here, but it stayed pretty fast for me. So I was able to get this in a variety of different conditions, mostly spring type conditions. So we got some groomers, some steeps, some park, a little bit all over. Took it out at Kirkwood, which was definitely some off-piste and full-on spring there as well. So for my weight and my specs and my personal preference, I feel like this board would be a ton of fun for me in the 143. The 147 was still fun, but it felt more like an all-mountain board to me than an all-mountain freestyle board. Or a more aggressive, on steeps. But turning initiation was pretty quick. Even though the waist width was slightly wider, I felt like I could turn this quickly with my 7.5 foot boot. It was a lot of fun to ride in the steeps. The positive camber profile kept it nice and connected and feeling stable. But the medium to stiff flex allowed me to still be able to twist the board and kind of maneuver it underneath me without too much effort. So yeah, quick enough to turn and maneuver through moguls and like trees and stuff like that. It does have quite the camber arc on it. I'll show you a video of that. So it does have a ton of energy once you get it to bend and rebound for you. Feels good in the turn. And you're able to kind of like get that energy back from the board to help you get into the next turn. So like the other two Coalition boards I rode, it felt very stable underfoot, able to handle speed and handle little bumps that you might not see and absorb them without getting kind of bucked around. And the Queen Bee definitely did that. In the steeps, it felt great. I did take it out in some icy terrain and the edge hold felt really good on the icy terrain. So I feel like on the scale, it's good for hard packed snow to icy snow. It's going to have slightly less edge hold than something with a little bit more side cut disruption. There is no disruption on here, but I feel like the mix of the side cut and the amount of camber you get, there is a good amount of edge hold for icy conditions. I felt like I didn't get too many fresh groomers on this board, but it was super fun to carve. Very stable again, and then a little bit of extra width underfoot allows you to carve without booting out. So if you need that mid-wide board in order to carve deep without booting out, this could be a good option for that. Ride switch just as well as it rides regular, so that felt great. I feel like this board likes that nice medium radius turn. It's just somewhere in the middle. Can definitely lay over and hold a carve when you are carving up a groomer. The positive camber helps a ton with that. But then the little bit of rocker on the nose and the tail keeps it from being too aggressive and also allows you to make skidded turns when you want to. It's not an ideal board if you get into deeper snow, so this would be better in like your average snow conditions. Average groomers, you know, hard pack, it'll do great on, but if it gets too deep, the positive camber might tend to make the nose go under a little bit, but it did feel pretty good in those spring slushy conditions. I was able to push it through the slush no problem. In the park, it was a ton of fun. I felt like it was a lot of fun in a half pipe situation that just with the stability and the positive camber underfoot. It felt like it held together really well and also has a good amount of pop. For my weight, it took me a little bit more effort to pop this board than if I had a softer flex. So that's why personally I feel like the 143 would be that sweet spot for my specs. You know, pretty forgiving enough to learn park on. Definitely forgiving enough to learn jumps on, to learn half pipe on. It might be a little bit aggressive for like an intro to jibbing board. If you have a little bit of experience under your belt, then it does feel good on rails and boxes. So overall, I feel like the Queen Bee would fit well for an intermediate to advanced expert rider. If you're looking for something kind of semi-playful, looking for that all-mountain twin freestyle board, a board that can kind of dabble in a lot of different conditions, but also a board that can ride fast without falling apart and getting super bucky. The Queen Bee felt very consistent in a lot of different snow conditions. It held a very nice edge in icy conditions, and it has a good amount of positive camber. So if you like a snappy, energetic board with a slightly stiffer flex, maybe check out the Queen Bee from Coalition.